Lee Marvin was an American film and television actor. Known for his gravelly voice, white hair and sexy stature and stature, Marvin initially appeared in supporting roles, mostly villains, soldiers and other hard-boiled characters. From 1957 to 1960, he starred as Detective Lieutenant Frank Ballinger in the NBC hit crime series, M Squad. In 1965, he won several awards, including an Academy Award for Best Actor, and Best Actor BAFTA and the Best Actor Golden Globe, for his dual roles in Cat Ballou. Early life, Marvin was born in New York City. He was the son of Lamont Waldman Marvin, an advertising executive and the head of the New York and New England Apple Institute, and his wife Courtney Washington, a fashion writer and beauty consultant. As with his older brother, Robert, he was named in honor of Confederate General Robert E. Lee, who was his first cousin, 4 times removed. His father was a direct descendant of Matthew Marvin, Sr., who emigrated from Great Bentley, Essex, England in 1635 and helped found Hartford, Connecticut. Marvin studied violin when he was young. As a teenager, Marvin spent weekends and spare time hunting deer, puma, wild turkey and bobwhite in the wilds of the then uncharted Everglades. He attended Mennonite School, a Christian socialist boarding school in Pawling, New York, during the late 1930s, and later attended St. Leo College Preparatory School in St. Leo, Florida after being expelled from several other schools for bad behavior. Military service. In August 1942 Marvin left school to enlist in the United States Marine Corps, serving with the 4th Marine Division in the Pacific Theater. He was wounded in action during the World War II Battle of Saipan, in the assault on Mount Tapoche, during which most of his unit were killed. Marvin's wound was from machine gun fire, which severed his sciatic nerve. Marvin was awarded the Purple Heart and was given a medical discharge with the rank of Private First Class in 1945 at Philadelphia. Marvin's awards are the Purple Heart, Presidential Unit Citation, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, and World War II Victory Medal. Contrary to rumors, Marvin did not serve with producer and actor Bob Keeshan during World War II. Career. After the war, while working as a plumber's assistant at a local community theater in upstate New York, Marvin was asked to replace an actor who had fallen ill during rehearsals. He then began an amateur off-Broadway acting career in New York City and eventually made it to Broadway with a small role in the original production of Billy Budd. In 1950, Marvin moved to Hollywood. He found work in supporting roles, and from the beginning was cast in various war films. As a decorated combat veteran, Marvin was a natural in war dramas, where he frequently assisted the director and other actors in realistically portraying infantry movement, arranging costumes, and the use of firearms. His debut was in You're in the Navy Now, and in 1952 he appeared in several films, including Don Siegel's Duel at Silver Creek, Hangman's Knot, and the war drama 8 Iron Men. He played Gloria Graham's vicious boyfriend in Fritz Lang's The Big Heat. Marvin had a small but memorable role in The Wild One opposite Marlon Brando, followed by Seminole and Gun Fury. He also had a notable small role as Smart Alexei Le Meatball in The Caine Mutiny. He had a substantially more important part as Hector, the small-town hood in Bad Day at Black Rock with Spencer Tracy. During the mid-1950s, Marvin gradually began playing more important roles. He starred in Attack, and had a supporting role in the western 7 Men from Now. He also starred in The Missouri Traveler, but it took over 100 episodes as Chicago cop Frank Ballinger in the successful 1957 Euro 1960 television series M Squad to actually give him name recognition. One critic described the show as a hyped-up, violent dragnet. With the hard as nails Marvin playing a tough police lieutenant. Marvin received the role after guest starring in a memorable Dragnet episode as a serial killer. In the 1960s, Marvin was given prominent supporting roles in such films as The Comancheros, John Ford's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and Donovan's Reef, all starring John Wayne, with Marvin's roles getting larger with each film. As the vicious Liberty Valance, Marvin played his first title role and held his own with 2 of the screen's biggest stars. For director Don Siegel, Marvin appeared in The Killers playing an efficient professional assassin alongside Clu Gulager. The Killers was also the first film in which Marvin received top billing. Playing alongside Vivien Leigh in Simone Signoret, Marvin won the 1966 National Board of Review Award for Male Actors for his role in Ship of Fools. Marvin won the 1965 Academy Award for Best Actor for his comic role in the offbeat western Cat Ballou starring Jane Fonda. He also won the 1965 Silver Bear for Best Actor at the 15th Berlin International Film Festival. Marvin next performed in the hit western The Professionals, in which he played the leader of a small band of skilled mercenaries rescuing a kidnapped victim shortly after the Mexican Revolution. He followed that film with the hugely successful World War II epic The Dirty Dozen, in which top-billed Marvin again portrayed an intrepid commander of a colorful group performing an almost impossible mission. In the wake of these two films and after having received an Oscar, Marvin was a huge star, given enormous control over his next film Point Blank. In Point Blank, an influential film for director John Boorman, he portrayed a hard-nosed criminal bent on revenge. Marvin, who had selected Boorman himself for the director's slot, had a central role in the film's development, plotline, and staging. In 1968, Marvin also appeared in another Boorman film, the critically acclaimed but commercially unsuccessful World War II character study Hell in the Pacific, also starring famed Japanese actor Toshiro Mifune. Marvin was originally cast as Pike Bishop in The Wild Bunch, but fell out with director Sam Peckinpah and pulled out in order to star in the western musical Paint Your Wagon, in which he was top-billed over a singing Clint Eastwood. Despite his limited singing ability, he had a hit song with Wandering Star. By this time he was getting paid $1 million per film, $200,000 less than top star Paul Newman was making at the time. Yet he was ambivalent about the film business. Even with its financial rewards, you spend the first 40 years of your life trying to get in this business, and the next 40 years trying to get out. And then when you're making the bread, who needs it? Marvin had a much greater variety of roles in the 1970s and 1980s, with fewer bad guy roles than in earlier years. His 1970s films included Monty Walsh with Jan Moreau, The Violent Prime Cut with Gene Hackman, Pocket Money with Paul Newman, Emperor of the North Pole opposite Ernest Bourne, As Hickey and the Iceman Cometh with Frederick March and Robert Ryan, The Spikes Gang with Noah Beery, Jr., The Klansmen with Richard Burton, Shout at the Devil with Roger Moore, The Great Scout and Cat House Thursday with Oliver Reed, and Avalanche Express with Robert Shaw. Marvin was offered the role of Quentin Jaws but declined, stating, "What would I tell my fishing friends who'd see me come off a hero against a dummy shark?" Marvin's immediately previous co-star Robert Shaw accepted the part, which gave Shaw his most prominent role and vaulted the supporting player into mainstream leading man status. Marvin's last big role was in Samuel Fuller's The Big Red One, a war film based on Fuller's own war experiences. His remaining films were Death Hunt with Charles Bronson, Gorky Park, Dog Day, and The Dirty Dozen, Next Mission. His final appearance was in The Delta Force with Chuck Norris. Personal life: during the 1970s, Marvin resided off and on in Woodstock, caring for his dying father, and as a keen fisherman would make regular trips to Australia to engage in fishing for marlin at Cairns and great white shark at Port Fairy. In 1975 Marvin and his second wife Pamela moved to Tucson, where he lived until his death. Despite starring in conservative films, Marvin was a liberal Democrat who opposed the Vietnam War. He publicly endorsed John F. Kennedy in the 1960 presidential election despite Kennedy's escalation of American involvement. Marriages and children: a father of 4, Marvin was married twice. His first marriage to Betty Belling began in February 1951 and ended in divorce on January 5, 1967. During this time his hobbies included sport fishing off the Baja California coast and duck hunting along the Mexican border near Mexicali. He and Belling had a son, Christopher, and 3 daughters, Courtney, Cynthia and Claudia. Claudia died on November 27, 2012. Marvin was married to Pamela Feely from October 18, 1970 until his death. Community property case: see also Marvin v. Marvin. In 1971, Marvin was sued by Michelle Triller, his live-in girlfriend from 1965 to 1970, who legally changed her surname to Marvin. Although the couple never married, she sought financial compensation similar to that available to spouses under California's alimony and community property laws. Triller claimed Marvin made her pregnant 3 times and paid for 2 abortions, while one pregnancy ended in miscarriage. She claimed the second abortion left her unable to bear children. The result was the landmark palimony case, Marvin v. Marvin, 18 Calories 3D 660. In 1979, Marvin was ordered to pay $104,000 to Triller for rehabilitation purposes, but the court denied her community property claim for one half of the $3.6 million which Marvin had earned during their 6 years of cohabitation, distinguishing non-marital relationship contracts from marriage, with community property rights only attaching to the latter by operation of law. Rights equivalent to community property only apply in non-marital relationship contracts when the parties expressly, whether orally or in writing, contract for such rights to operate between them. After the case, Marvin was the subject of controversy when he said that the trial was a circus, and that everyone was lying, even I lied. In August 1981, the California Court of Appeal found there was no such contract, and thus nullified the award she had received. Michelle Triller died of lung cancer on October 30, 2009. This case was used as fodder for a mock debate skit on Saturday Night Live called Point Counterpoint, and on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson as a skit with Carson as Adam, and Betty White as Eve. Death. In December 1986, Marvin underwent intestinal surgery after suffering abdominal pains while at his ranch outside Tucson. Doctors said then that there was an inflammation of the colon, but that no malignancy was found. After being hospitalized for more than 2 weeks because of a rundown condition related to the flu, Marvin died of a heart attack on August 29, 1987. He is interred at Arlington National Cemetery where his headstone reads Lee Marvin, PFC, U.S. Marine Corps, World War II. Selected filmography, television appearances. Marvin's appearances on television included Suspense Rebound M Squad Climax. Biff Baker, USA Dragnet The Ford Show starring Tennessee Ernie Ford General Electric Theater The Americans The Investigators The Barbara Stanwyck Show Route 66 The Untouchables Checkmate The Dick Powell Show Combat. The Twilight Zone Craft Suspense Theater Drive Cold Air Wagon Train Bonanza The Virginian, see also. The Sons of Lee Marvin, a tongue-in-cheek secret society dedicated to Marvin, references, notes. Citations. Bibliography. External links, Lee Marvin at the Internet Movie Database, Lee Marvin at the Internet Broadway Database, Profile of Marvin in Film Comment, Lee Marvin at Find a Grave.